Okay.
So,
Hi, Stefan.
hi Gabor. We were told to say hi to everyone.
Yes, absolutely.
That
Hi, everyone.
Hi everyone. I'm very much looking forward talking to you about your new book. It's your first book, right?
Yes, it is.
Yes.
Nurit has a
Uh,
book, and this is my first.
yes. So it has a very interesting title, Functional Silence,
Yes.
and the subtitle is Demystifying Awakening for the Spiritually Exhausted. I love this especially because I didn't know that there are so many spiritual exhausted people, but as a matter of fact, I met some of them. One
You
of
did.
them is even a very close friend of mine. How did you come up with that, and how many spiritually exhausted people did you meet last times?
Well, 1,257. No. Well, the title came from, we tried to get a suitable title for a book. And all of a sudden, one of my students who live in British Columbia in Canada said, "Oh, I'm so spiritually exhausted." I said, okay, that's the title. And there are the people are, we call them spiritually exhausted simply because people are absolutely unaware that awakening is an option for them. So not knowing that, they run around doing this and that and this and that, not keeping in mind that awakening is a possibility. So that's how we came up with the title.
Did you now it's difficult for me because I talked so long German, so now I have to switch to English again.
It's okay to, you know, you're German, I'm Hungarian, and we speak English, so it's okay.
Yes. Um, where does this spiritual exhaustion come from? What's the cause of it? Do you have any glimpse
Yeah,
or?
yeah. Well, the whole planet and the population is in big trouble, really. Environment, politics, everything, and people are looking for solutions, and naturally. And we keep inventing wonderful solutions as far as technology or this and that. We can have the technology going to Mars or wherever. But as far as our heart, our soul, call it what you want, as far as inner peace, um, it's just simply not available to us very easily. So people keep searching for religion, meditation groups, stuff like that. And they keep, people realize in their heart that it's urgent, quote unquote. I mean, it's happening. The shifts, the planetary shifts, everything is happening, and people realize that it's urgent. So they rush around looking left, right, and here and there and everywhere. And people figure that the more they learn, perhaps the closer they're gonna get to this some kind of a magic mark called awakening or enlightenment. And so people run, and they get spiritually exhausted because all the effort that they put in mostly is not getting them any results. There is some temporary inner peace. There is some wonderful camaraderie. There is wonderful retreats and on and on. They are all great, but the inner peace does not remain. You know, so because it doesn't remain, so they keep searching more, not knowing that the more we search for it, the more we can find it. Awakening does not come as a result of searching. So it's a bigger, better of a problem.
So the silence you're talking about, you call it functional silence. Is it silence like I don't hear anything, I don't say anything? what kind of silence are you talking about?
Yeah, it's the inner silence, basically, that I'm talking about, that is, of course, very different than outer silence. And all my faculties functioning fine, except the mind slows down and eventually stops. And eventually, in time, the mind becomes a friend and is going to be willing to be governed by the person, by the real person. So the inner silence is the silence from the mind's disturbing, ongoing thoughts that is so prevalent in today's society. And it's definitely different than outer silence. Outer silence and inner silence is so different that it's got nothing to do with one another. It's like if we're comparing a butterfly to butterfly strokes in swimming. Mm-hmm. The word is the same, but it's very different, you know.
Do you live in this inner silence all the time, or is there a fluctuation, or is it that you're the master of your mind constantly, or does it get you sometimes?
Good question. It still tries to get me sometimes, but it doesn't succeed. Probably the easiest way to put it is that the number one thing we have to do is take it, explain and convince people that it's not a mysterious thing, is a natural thing, something which we are born with. It's a birthright. So if it is your birthright, you don't have to deserve it. You don't have to fight for it, be good at something. You don't have to clean up your inner being. You don't have to do anything to deserve it. So we have the total right to, and we have all the ingredients to activate this ability within us. It's already exists, but it's not activated. And we all heard the expression, look inside, it's all within and all that. It's true. But looking inside requires some techniques that are really kinesthetic, feeling oriented, feeling within the body. When we do that using our free will of really looking inside in a feeling way, we activate the body as a transformational organ. Oh. I look in, I feel, and the mind goes, zzz, stops. And there are different techniques that really work well in looking inside. And there's different techniques as far as how to stay there. So it's like being at a different platform. All of a sudden I have activated, let's say, the absolute best operating systems, like it's a Windows 10. But what's interesting is if a new system will come out, that's already within me also. And it doesn't have to be separately activated. It's like activating the transformational organ called the body enables us to have like a season's pass in all the forthcoming operating systems.
Yes,
it's amazing. It's not very hard. The mind labels it hard because anything the mind doesn't understand or can't control, it's hard. So, but it's not really. It's a birthright. It's not mysterious. And so that's basically what the book is about.
I have a strange question for you, because when I skipped through the book, I realized, first of all, you have a lot of drawings. I have to show the book. That's the book.
Yes, that's the book, yes.
And you have a lot of drawings, and some of them are quite technical. So
Yes.
my strange question is, do you have more men as students?
That's a very good question. Generally speaking, I have a lot more female students. However, in Hungary, I have a lot more male students.
Okay.
Young men in their 20s, very successful. They are really eating it up and succeeding in it. But I would say overall, mainly I still have female students. Some of the best students are mainly male students of mine.
I have to read one disclaimer. I love it.
I know. I know.
I love it, and this is how I found it. I didn't prepare this disclaimer. I didn't want to read it. I just found it when I skipped through the book during I spoke to your wife. So it was very easy.
Yeah.
And that's how I like it. That's the intuitive part of me.
Yes.
I love it.
Yes.
So it's the disclaimer. This is not a legal disclaimer. It is rather a facts disclaimer. All the facts used in this book are believed to be correct. However, we cannot get to awakening by using proven facts. Therefore, the explanations that are used in this book are based on how helpful or useful they are in reaching our goal. Once awakening has taken place, we can make up whatever facts we want. And I love this last sentence.
The whole point is the last sentence.
Yes.
The whole point.
I like it very much. So, do you? What is your approach? Like, since I said it's sometimes it looks quite technical, and you have some really also mathematical stuff in it.
Yeah. Geometry, some geometry and mathematics, but
yes,
very basic. You know.
So, why this approach? Where does it come from?
Okay, I understand. The reason I took this approach is because the attempt is to try to convince the mind that at least temporarily, please cooperate. And here is some logic and reason, please. Don't be a schmuck, please cooperate. And here is A, B, C, and D, okay? and because we need the mind's cooperation to some extent. Hence, we have some facts. Like I said, the facts are not proven, not proven facts. I can't prove them, but here is the difference. I was looking for facts that are conducive to awakening, not necessarily factual. If we could get to awakening by facts, millions of people would be awakened by now, with all the smart people around. But there are some facts that I would say awakening conducive to awakening. And the easiest way to attempt to explain it in this short time is that the world we live in, the duality or rather triality we live in is going in this plane, and we're all searching on the duality plane for more and more and better and better and better. So it's this way now. And people hope, many people hope, the spiritually exhausted keep on going, hoping that in time we're going to get to awakening. So this now is not okay, but maybe a year from now, that now will be okay. And we can go on forever, getting the best meditations, the best teachings, the best everything. And it just keeps on going. And we all heard the expression that being the now. And the reason that is that awakening is in an angle to this reality. Like if our reality is here, awakening is in this 60-degree angle. So we can't continue into awakening. We have to leap into it. We have to leap into it. So I teach exercises how to do that, and some of them look, of course, very weird. Look very weird. So if we are after being in the now can only be reached now. So the mind have to get used to that I can only reach my goal now, and what will take some time is the integration. But the goal is not going to come in time like normally. It's going to come now, and integration will take some time.
Wow.
So it's mainly the exercises are inner focusing exercises, using a whole bunch of faculties like laughing, inner feelings. I have an exercise, the basic exercise of entering the now I have is called the dolphin. And it looks like a dolphin, it's laughed like a dolphin, it's kind of weird. It's like this. And so you're not going to do it in the street, but
not in the street like the cars now rushing by.
Yeah.
But we can. I don't think that the audio is too bad. I think we can continue.
Oh yeah, no, it's fine.
I really hear you.
No, it's fine. I mean, inner silence is different than outer silence. And
yes.
you don't necessarily need the outside to be quiet, although it would be nice.
Yes.
So, these exercises are physiological and focused exercises. Awakening is a kinesthetic derivative, meaning that it's a type of feeling. It's not a type of visual, and it's not hearing oriented. Although auditory, the hearing is being used in the process of entering the body. So physiologically, we do all kinds of things to interrupt the mind, because the mind is going to go bzzz. The first thing we're going to do is interrupt it. Instead of the mind interrupting me, I'm going to interrupt it. So there is interruption exercises. And once the interruption happens and the mind cuts, mind gives us a little bit of a break, like 20 seconds, 30 seconds perhaps. Then we enter the body. And there's instant inner silence. And then, once these are practiced enough, or repeated enough, then we proceed to integrate our life into this silence. And there are different integration exercises. So the bottom line is, instead of proceeding in the same way as before, which is not going to get us anywhere, the mind's own power is interrupted by my free will, and that interruption gives me a little bit of time to enter the body and feel the body and be in it. And as soon as I'm sitting in it, I'm sitting on this new platform of reality. And so it's a lot simpler than it sounds. The mind would label it hard because it doesn't understand it, of course. So the first thing we're going to do is interrupt the mind that would attempt to understand it.
Yes.
So it's different, and hence the book. The book's attempt is to convince that we can't go towards awakening continuing the same way. We must interrupt and enter the body. And it talks about the free will. It talks about certain things, how to do certain things. The geometrical and mathematical stuff is only to convince the mind to give us a break, so that this platform of when we jump from one reality to another, so that the information is there so that we can jump, so that the mind allows us to jump. I very much it's very much like a pole vaulting.
A what?
Like pole vaulting, there's a sport called pole vaulting. You run with the pole and then you jump, right? You jump very high. So we can leap into this reality like a pole vaulter, runs, and the pole has to be put down in a very solid ground for it to work. And the information is there to create this very solid ground, so that when we do the physical exercise, the mind's interruption would be much less.
Wow. I love this explanation. I love it. It's one other thing came up, but I couldn't think anymore. So I couldn't. Yes, I can remember.
Congratulations.
Yes, I was very happy. Would you say that criticism is a part of the mind?
Yes.
Or of the function of the mind?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Criticism is a function of the mind. And of course, we could have critical thinking, which is necessary to go from one level to another, like build a building, build a bridge. We need critical thinking. Criticizing other people, it's a whole different thing.
Okay. I like that very much, because this is what I realized in my own life, that I maybe not completely, but 99% I stopped criticizing. I just don't give a shit. I go on. I love that much more, because my mind could go on forever talking about what's wrong with others.
Oh yeah, I mean, if that's why we interrupt the mind and go in when there is silence, because from that inner silence, from the deep silence, criticism doesn't exist. It's like everyone is kind of accepted the way they are. Or pardon me, let me correct this. It looks like everyone is accepted. Being in the now looks like I'm accepting someone. I'm not accepting anyone, except I'm being. And being in the being is not motivating me to criticize somebody.
Yes.
I mean, why would I? Unless it's absolutely essential. I mean, we live in a lunatic asylum. The whole planet is crazy. Yeah. I mean, I could criticize absolutely everything from A to Z,
yes,
and it wouldn't help. That's why what we're trying to do is look, instead of trying to fix everything, let's just try to jump out of this reality. Let's be. And then being in this new platform, we can rebuild the planet amazingly. No war, no police, no military, no accounting. No. Yeah. You don't need it. I mean, all that money and all that pollution and wars. I mean, come on. I mean, really? That's like, if I was from another planet and came down here, I said, these people are really local. Yeah. You know, everyone's mind. I don't care if you're a politician, a scientist, or whatever. My mind is local, except it's not speaking to me, unless I want it to speak to me.
Yes. Oh, I love that. It's great. And I also love your analogy that you said we have to realize that the goal is in the now. I experienced that the last days when it was kind of a goal. I want to do something in the future, but I felt it like it was already here. And exactly. I think people don't realize that it's impossible to chase a goal. It's not possible. You will not get there if you don't realize it here. And if I'm already content. I already feel like this goal is fulfilled. So I don't care if it comes in the future or not.
Right.
I liked it very much. I liked it.
Yeah, exactly.
could you elaborate on that, on the goal setting
Yeah,
and all the
yeah.
stuff? Because it's
Oh
very
yeah.
popular in the personal development
Oh
scene
yeah.
and stuff like that.
Well, I'm very familiar with the personal development angles, goal setting, manifestations, and relationships, and all this. And even with respect to goal setting, uh, you could define what you like. You can feel it. You can talk about the colors, the smells, and everything, and talk about it, and create this vortex of positivity and talk about it. And that would be the half of the that would be part of the manifestation. But comes a point that if you really wanted to make it happen, you have to give it over to God. Now, that's a metaphor, of course. Metaphorically, I could say, here is my goal, and God, here you take it. And what it really means is that I have to take my goal and take it out of duality and put it into this united reality. Once I put it into this united reality, it will happen. So in the duality reality, I define something very positive, but the swing is still gonna swing, and I can try to push the negative, a positive. I can push it, push it, push it more and more, but the swing will eventually take place. In order to prevent it, one can take the goal, the defined goal, and be present with it. Being present with it simply means that you are unifying with God, and you are unifying with your goal. So I'm uniting with my goal to make sure it happens. If I don't do that, usually the manifestation technique does not work. It sounds good, it will be fantastic conversations, it will be wonderful everything, but it will not actually happen. But the possibility is so wonderful, because people can still have the wonderful possibilities, conversations about what to manifest, and all together we can enter the now with manifesting with those goals, and the feeling is amazing. The results are amazing. So being in the now could be added to the manifestation techniques, and to make sure it actually works. It makes relationships amazing. Relationships will be either super perturbed or super good. So it has a relationship to all aspects of our life, especially manifestations, relationship, health, everything. Because so far, we've been looking at our reality as a contrast. You're there because you're not here, and this is tall because this is not short. This is black and white. So we get to know our reality only as contrast, referring to our senses. Our senses sense only contrast, and once we activate the transformational organ, we will be capable of uniting with something. So I can get to know my world, uniting with it. Making love to it, but hope people don't misunderstand this. But you can unite with reality and get to know it. Unite and get to know it. So human beings are blessed with the capacity of operating very well in the contrast reality, which we need. We need to make those distinctions in contrast reality. But in addition to that, once activated, we can be very comfortable with this united reality, and we can get to know our world by uniting with it, as well as making distinctions. And when both are being used, that's what you call an awakened human. It's not mysterious. The bells are not ringing. It's just we see the world the way it is, and there's peace. Peace. We will either wake up Or if not, your guess is as good as mine. It's absolutely time. It's urgent.
Wow. I want to refer to the goal setting again. What I realized is when I set goals in the past, I was setting these in resistance to the goal. In fact, or in resistance to what is now. And that was my big problem. So I couldn't reach a goal because I had this goal in resistance to the moment in which I'm living now.
That's right.
So this is a very strange thing we are doing, because in this, when you're doing it like this, you have no chance. And but you're, how do you say? You're sincere. That is the strange thing about it.
Yes.
And I couldn't even blame myself for doing it this way, because I didn't have any tools.
Yes.
I didn't have any means to change something until my teacher came into my life. And I know that you're very happy about his quote about your book. May I read it?
Samarpan. Oh, I'm super happy about his opinion. Please do. Yes.
Yes. So, because Samarpan is my teacher, and you got to know him, and Nurit got to know him after a talk with me. And I was super stoked about this quote, because I thought he would never do it.
Right.
Because usually he doesn't do it. what I know about him. So I read it. Samarpan wrote, "This book is a goldmine of liberating hints and is a must-read for anyone who is searching for guidance in this jungle of misleading information. I am simply delighted. I find the expressions and metaphors beautiful, enlightening, and simply helpful to anyone who wishes to escape from the slavery that we have been conditioned to believe to be freedom. I am overwhelmed by the beauty, clarity, and thoroughness of this work. In short, I have not read anything in this book that I could not sign. In love, Samarpan."
Man, it's like, I'm so grateful for to him to write this. It's such an honor.
So he also referred, I found that really interesting, because when I went through the book and someone would have asked me if he likes it or not, I would have said, oh, I'm not sure. Like, for example, just have to show it to the audience.
The golden ratio gate, yes.
I would say, I don't know if my satsang teacher likes this.
Yes. Yeah.
But this is really, the funny thing about it is what you said with this two-dimensional thing, and then we have to take a leap in the 60-degree angle.
Right.
This is exactly what he writes about in his quote. So that we have to escape from the slavery that we have been conditioned to believe to be freedom.
Right.
And this is the same, like here we think, freedom, and we can travel wherever we want, and this is freedom, but then you can experience true freedom.
Right.
For me, it is a very strange thing, since for me, it is like really entering a parallel universe. And normally I don't like an expression like this, because it sounds too big, and Stefan, what do you think of yourself, blah, blah, blah. But it is like this. I'm experiencing it for something like 10 years now, that my reality is getting more and more away from other people's reality, and I even don't know why. I'm not doing anything. And this is what's so interesting. What do you think? What do you have in common, except awakening, with Samarpan's teachings?
I don't know. I'm not too familiar with his teaching, except for when Nurit was interviewing him. And Nurit goes right to the point, and I really like his answers, his heart, his simplicity. And so I would say I have everything in common with what as much as I know of him. I don't know everything, but the simple heart is the essential point. And the whole essence of the book is to be simple and being able to be simple. And in order to do that, the book is designed so that we can actually get our mind to cooperate enough and we can understand it enough to be able to do some simple exercises to be simple. If you and me lived with the Indians in South America, which I did for a short time, they didn't need the explanations of tetrahedron and Golden Gate ratio and stuff like that. They don't know what the hell is that. But they were, but when I was with them, they were able to just sit and be. And I thought, oh my God, you know, when am I gonna get some teachings? And the sitting itself was the teaching, and I was waiting for the teaching. They don't need any explanation. They don't need facts that are awakening conducive, because they just naturally there. But us in this civilization, or I would say civilization, we need them. We need something to lead us there. We have to be totally convinced that it's not this way. First, if someone is still convinced that somehow by keep on searching for more and more, they're gonna get there, there's not much I can do. So the book is designed to convince someone that it's not this way. There's all kinds of benefits in keep on searching this way, but not awakening. Wow. It's a simple birthright, and it is so amazing because it's a spiritual Swiss Army knife or something. It just works with everything. It works with business. It works with negotiations. It works with spiritual teachings. It works with manifestations. It works for straightening out relationships. It works with friendship. Making decisions are so different from it. And also, to be able to wake up to our birthright, we absolutely guarantee that there will be peace. Peace starts with me, here. And once I have this inner love in my heart and peace, it spreads like wildfire. Each person being aware is amazing. Each person's awareness does the work of 1,000, 2,000, million other type of help. Every kind of help is wonderful, but the largest, biggest help I can offer the planet, my friends, my family, is just to be. Let God's love come through us and just be. We can still have a life. We can still make decisions. We can still do business. We can still do all kinds of stuff, but from a whole different perspective.
That is one very interesting point. I have to ask you about this, because this is what I often hear in the spiritual community. But Stefan, you still have goals, or you still want something. You shouldn't want anything, and you should be more spiritual or whatever. What about that one?
Well, assuming that awakening comes on the end of a line. We start here and we end up here. Assuming that that's correct, that's a true statement. I'm going and I already cleaned up my chakras. Okay, now I do behavior modification. I am no longer jealous. I have to work on it. I don't hate people. I work on it. Okay, that's good. Now the next, I have to clean this and I have to clean. Oh, goals. No. Business is not spiritual. I have to just love everybody and just be and all that. So assuming that awakening is here and I'm here, that's perhaps correct, which of course isn't correct, because awakening will not happen over here. Okay. What's absolutely essential to understand eventually is that I have to have the inner peace here and now and function here and now in Budapest. And this is where I am right now. And if I want to do business, I will. Meaning that if an opportunity comes and I take a few steps towards it, tremendous help is available, by the way, towards any kind of goal. I can and I should make those steps towards those goals, because the reason the universe put those goals in front of me is because that's what I need to do from the elevated platform. So the people on the elevated platform needs to demonstrate that this is so practical. Yes, goals are okay. Yes, relationships are okay. Yes, going to travel to India is okay. So go ahead, travel to India, as long as you're not waiting to get enlightened in India, because you can only do it now.
Yes.
Go to the elevated platform, then travel to India or Tibet or wherever, right? So it's essential for it to be very practical. Now, am I as motivated to do business as I was when I was in my 20s? No, absolutely not. But at that time, the motivation was I want more and a better and more money and more power. Because I assumed that freedom is somewhere in the domain of having more and more power, more and more money. And I don't have that, of course. But an opportunity comes. Let's go to Italy and do a seminar, or to Quebec or whatever. Okay. So instead of setting the goals, it kind of comes to me, kind of comes to us. And absolutely every function that we're doing now is perfectly okay. Everyone is perfectly okay the way they are. We don't need to modify anything to qualify for awakening. God's love is equally available to anyone, and no one has the exclusive right for God's love. God's love presents universe. You know what I'm saying? It's the same thing. So life becomes very much the same, except from a whole different platform. It's like, let's say I have an old computer and I try some softwares to try to figure something out, right? And it doesn't quite work. But if I take the same problem into the new operating platform, right? And I have the appropriate software, bang, it's right in front of me. So it's when we have the universe as a partner, things work the way they should. There's no should, but you know what I mean. Things work. Things are peaceful. There is no there's no hate. There's no war. There's nothing in our heart. And once it's not in our heart, it's pure love, and that's where we come from. Now there is solutions for everything, whether it's Iran, Iraq, or North Korea, or my neighbor's dog, or whoever, right?
Yes.
So that's what's wonderful about it, that it's nobody's exclusive right. It's available. It's not available on the end of some perceived timeline. It's available now, and we have to be. There's exercises to learn how to be in the now.
I have to ask you about love.
It's our favorite subject.
What kind of love are you talking about? And what is love? What is love for an awakened one or for an enlightened being? Is it a feeling?
Well, there is a session in the book called The Mirage on the Other Side of the Fence.
Mm-hmm.
That's how I named it. That simply means that here's a fence, and here is all the good stuff and we look over the fence, and let's say there is let's say there is enlightened people over here, right? And the non-enlightened ones, oh, I have to comb my hair. So we're looking at enlightened people on the other side of the fence, right? I said, oh my God, this person is in the now. Oh, the person is so forgiving. He's so allowing. He's so loving. He's so this. And we could have a list of probably 1,000 things that we could perceive that person to be. Okay? And I'm answering the question.
Mm-hmm.
And none of it is true. All those words are perceptions of a time-based reality from here. Here, there is no such a thing. There is only one behavior over here, Stefan. One. Be. So when we are being, we are perceived to be loving. When we are being, we're perceived to be allowing. I'm not allowing anything. Allowing, not allowing. Allowing has an opposite anyway. I'm not forgiving. I'm just being. Oh, you must forgive. Yeah, okay, I'm on my way. How do I do it? Go ahead and, okay, just forgive. And there is all these complicated things here that we think we must learn or we must go towards as a behavior modification. And here is the good news. We don't need to do that. Because on this side, there is only being, which is perceived by people as loving. Because there is no other word for it. The duality is looking at non-duality. So a flea is looking at the elephant. And say, oh, okay, it's this. So what kind of a love it is? All kinds of love, but on the base of being. And on the base of being, it appears to be very loving. And I can have all kinds of degree of loving. We can still have sexuality loving. We can still have all kinds of love. The love of a brother, the love of a sister, the love of a partner, whatever. But the base is that what we perceive the unconditional love of just being. It's very good news because we don't have to worry about 1,000 things to fix. We're okay the way we are. That's what Summer Pan said? Yeah.
Yes.
Nurit is saying that's what, when she interviewed Summer Pan, that's what he said. Yeah, we are okay the way we are, she said. So yes, and you know, to hear this, people say, you're okay the way you are, you're okay the way you are. And people are used to hearing it with some people. Oh, you're okay the way you are, you're okay the way you are. But no one believes it. Mm. Subconsciously, the mind says, yeah, everybody's okay except me. Mm. Okay, that guy, okay, it's fine, but not me. Subconsciously, no, that's not me. I have to work at it. I have to work more. I have to learn more. I have to meditate more. I have to be a better person.
Yes.
So, for real, it is for real that we're okay the way we are. All we have to do to be really okay is to activate the transformational organ that's already within us. All the ingredients are already factory installed. We were born with it. Can't even lose it. Except we're used to paying attention this way, this way, this way, this way. Everything points that way. And very, very few things point this way. Yeah. And so there is all kinds of loving, but the base of all those love is the unconditional one. Again, it looks like unconditional love, but really it's just being.
Yes. Wow. I like that because the mind is so quick in judging that we go into spirituality with a judging mind.
Yeah, well,
And then we
exactly.
say this one is more enlightened than the other.
Oh yeah, well, yeah, exactly. Where most people have a bunch of spiritual knowledge, and they assume that to be correct. So now, on this assumed spiritual knowledge, let's build more. Because of course we need more to get to somewhere. And by the way, no one really talks about awakening. They mention it, but so this more, let's build more. And now the problem is, the big problem that I'm having is that people who know a lot, they're listening through the already acquired knowledge, which is incorrect. So what am I going to say? Hey, it's incorrect. Oh, what kind of a spiritual person are you? It's incorrect. It's all allowed. Yeah, but it's incorrect, you schmuck.
Yes. Yes, I
Yeah,
understand.
it's incorrect. So people who have a lot of knowledge must turn that lot of knowledge into their advantage. Currently, it's a disadvantage because it prevents them from the kind of simplicity that's required. However, they could turn it around and turn it to their advantage. And many of my students are doing that. Many of my students have a tremendous amount of knowledge. And it's all now being used for the leap.
Would you say that you're the spiritual teacher for the intellectual?
Well, I never considered myself an intellectual, but it's what's interesting about me is that I have a very extensive knowledge of different things. I was a successful businessman. I did this and did that, and I failed a lot. I succeeded a lot, and I was always interested in the subject, different aspect of it, and all that information wasn't helpful for my awakening. I have a tremendous knowledge. It was absolutely useless for awakening because what helped me with my awakening was the depression, the suicidal depression. I had to be able to go to an existential crisis, so much so that existence was close to me. And then I realized the simplicity. However, all that accumulated knowledge helps me to explain. So I explain as much as necessary to each person or to each group. If there's an intellectual group, I have that approach. If there is a religious group, I have a different approach. Either way, the goal is awakening, and that's the only thing I'm focused on.
Well, I like that.
Yeah. So we give the mind the logic and reason part to give us a little, to calm down a little bit. Okay, calm down. Don't object so quick. Calm down. So that the logic and reason does that. It gives the mind a little bit of calm that is required to even start.
Yes.
If it goes like crazy like this, there's no start, nothing, just madness. It's just if I have madness in my mind, I have madness everywhere.
I had a few strange experiences when people from the outside judged me to be aggressive, angry, or whatever. And it might be that I talked like this or appeared like this, but within me it was totally still and totally silent.
Yes.
I realized I was talking and I was angry like in the old world, but there was no, how do you say that? There was no, I didn't want to push something on the other, but I still behaved like it was the old Stefan. Do you know something like this? Did you have it yourself?
Yeah, absolutely, and it's perfectly fine. By the way, I have, let's say, I mean, Jesus throw out the money changers from the church.
Yeah.
Being angry is not necessarily a bad thing. It's not. We can't label things that this is good, this is bad. So there's inner peace, and let's say you meet someone on the bus or drive or something like that that does something really weird, and you try to talk on a certain level and it doesn't understand. Then you go a notch further and doesn't understand, and then you still have the inner peace. Okay, well, the only way that this person will understand is anger. Okay, so you can say, oh, boom, 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 yet you have inner peace.
Yeah.
So you're acting it out. You take out the you take from the library. You take the book called Anger, and you act it out. Now you listen, stop now, whatever, right?
Yes.
So you were angry from a different platform,
Yeah.
and that's part of communication. And it's perfectly okay. It's not like we're gonna become these soft people with no voice. Oh, I'm just gonna be spiritual. Om Namah Shivaya. I bring you a flower and all this. While inside me there could be God knows what, you know. So it's about an inner world of peace. The outer expression will come naturally from that peace. But the outer expression does not exclude anger. When sometimes people ask me if I do what you tell me, am I not going to be too soft? No, this being present is just too sissy, you know. It's for special guys. Forget it. I'm not that. Well, I said, if you think that being present is for sissies, ask a samurai. The samurais were present, and if needed, they chopped somebody's head off, and they'll still be present. So it's not about the behavior or an expression of an emotion. It's about a platform. Quickly, you can be angry and knowing that deep inside you have the love in your heart. Usually, it's not necessary to be angry very much like it used to be. Sometimes it's necessary.
Yes. Wow. What a short hour.
Well, you and me could talk the whole day. So
Yes, for sure.
yeah.
Oh, wow. I like this very much about the judging mind, that we go into the spirituality and we still look at everything from the same, more or less from the same angle like before. And we say, no, but you couldn't work for the military, for sure not, because now you're spiritual, you're peaceful. And I tell these guys, but what if the whole military is spiritual? What do you think? How would war change? Maybe we would play some gotcha or some
That's right.
games on our computer and have some fun, by the way, too.
That's
so
right. Or they would have a soccer game or maybe a boxing game to win a war.
Yes.
Instead of spending billions of guaranteed to kill everybody. So how smart is that?
Yeah, and how much fun. And
yeah.
So, and we don't have to exclude or to ban the violence.
Absolutely not.
Out of our life. We don't have to fight against it, because that's again a fight within me, because I'm against war now. No, I'm not against war.
If I'm against war, I'm giving more power to war.
Yes.
That's the big problem. I being against anything that the mind wants to do, any resistance makes this big.
Yes.
So being against the war, being against this, being against that is make that problem much bigger. But you bring up an interesting subject of, for instance, the military. What is required right now very much is people who are aware, people who are awake, half awake, whatever, however we call it, who start working for all these institutions. So it's exactly what's required is military officers to be able to have peace.
Mm.
And they're not gonna be wimps. They will be the most powerful people.
Mm.
They can still have their hand on the atomic weapon.
Yeah.
Okay, fine, you can have your atomic weapon, but shift your heart, and that button will never be pushed. Now that's a lot harder to do than push the button. Conquer ourselves or to activate this is a lot harder for the mind than pushing the button and bombing North Korea or whatever we're going to do, right?
That's what I like about your what you said, that people say, "Oh, I'm a sissy then." Oh no,
Absolutely not.
you're so much not of a sissy. You can't even imagine what it takes
Absolutely.
to be in peace with war. And this is much, much harder than to be in peace with peace. This is easy. That's an easy one.
That's
but,
right.
but go and fight as a soldier and take your peace with you.
Exactly.
You will experience a totally different world.
Absolutely. We need awake people in governments, in military, in people who cut hair, people who do accounting, people who catch dogs, people who whatever, you know,
Yes.
in every aspect, because that's how we'll know that functional silence, you can still function. But
Yeah.
all of a sudden, the universe participates in a loving way. All of a sudden, my job as a dog catcher may be no longer relevant because the dogs will be just fine. And I'm using a stupid example, right? So we need functional people in this society who are functioning, who are at a different platform on every level, including the military.
Well, thank you so much, Gabor. I love it. And it's right, it's true. We could talk for days. And maybe this is one of these opportunities, because you said you only say yes to an opportunity if it comes by. You're not chasing it anymore.
Oh.
That we too in fact do something in Italy. So
But
let's
yes,
see what.
yeah, that was so weird. I mentioned Italy, and then I realized, oh, you're doing that in Italy.
Yes.
That would be wonderful. I mean, we want people to benefit and get this.
Yes. Maybe 2018 we can organize something together.
That would be wonderful.
Wow.
It would be really wonderful. And then we can sit next to a beer and talk the whole day.
Yeah.
I said beer deliberately because it's not spiritual.
Yes, in Italy it's wine. It's more spiritual, right?
Wine is allowed, beer is not.
Yes. Thank you so much for this lovely talk. I enjoyed it so much. I understand, or I understood it so deeply that yeah, I'm missing the words. I don't know what else to say.
Well, thank you for a wonderful conversation. I love you as always.
Thank you.
It's not an expression of being a sissy. It's just I do.
I love you too.
Take care of yourself.
It's an honor and a pleasure. Thank you so much.
Absolutely. All the best.